Well, I guess we're close enough to the top of the hour. So with that, Captain Eddie won't be joining us tonight. So I will be doing the full on MCing, kind of similar to most times, outside of when Captain is talking. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with some of the gallery names that we've already got submitted in the gallery chat here. For those
Back
that
in.
are new and unfamiliar with how we do gallery, one for the new people who are here, welcome. Hope you stick around for the entire event. We have a real good demo lined up here in about an hour. We typically chit chat to start off, and then we start showing gallery items. But if you're new here, if you got something you'd like to show, put it in the chat, and I'll get you added to the list. We'll go down through the list, look at everybody's work. If anybody has any questions on how to do anything, came up with a problem with their equipment, or looking for ideas on how to do something, feel free to shout it out, put it in the chat, and one of us or the co-host will call on you, and we will get you an answer one way or another. There's 39 people on here, guaranteed. There's probably 25 different answers. So with that, let's go to Dewey and see what he's got for us.
Hey,
I'm gonna bring in yet.
there
There
we
you are.
go. Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. But I,
Yes.
I did a little bowl, and I was doing some carving on the outside, make a kind of a
Oh,
basket type thing. And this type of thing, you always want a third hand. Now, I don't have one, and I couldn't grow one, so I decided to make one. I made one here. It's
oh,
yeah, you
Hmm. That's
put
what
this
I'm
on,
talking about.
there you
put
go.
this one here. Okay, here you go, like this.
Get your
And
own
then,
carving stand.
yeah, I call it my third hand. And you can you can twist this little knob and make things. You can this thing go around and round and round if you want. When you tighten that knob up and make it, then you can take and loosen this little screw here, this little nut here, and just a second. There we go. There we go. You can loosen this nut here. It's half inch. This is all half inch stuff except for right here. That's in order. And you can move it this way, or you can take this, run this up, and you can raise it up, high as much as you want to. So it's pretty versatile little gadget. And I thought I'd share it with everybody. And I thought I'll go ahead and put an article in the newsletter on how to make one. They're pretty inexpensive. All it is nuts, bolts, and all threads. All it is.
Yeah,
Um,
read my mind.
That's
you know,
pretty cool, dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
That really is.
The
Really
only
a great idea.
I I did weld this coupling nut to this thin piece of metal because that's all I had. I was
Oh,
I would suggest you have something pretty heavy to set this on, so that way, you won't have to clamp it to the bench or anything. So, but anyway, I wanted to share that with everybody to show that you can make yourself a third hand, and it's not the only expensive part is this adapter that adapts from a 3/4 13 to a 1 inch 8 thread, and
Okay.
and then you got you got to do a little bit of drilling and tapping. You got to put a set screw in this thing here so that you can when you turn this, then you can swivel. This is just a 3/4 inch bolt. All this is right here, 3/4 inch bolts. All it is, everything else is half inch. So it's not very expensive to make. The only kicker, if you don't have a welder, you got to figure out a way to attach this to a base to keep it from, so you can have it to tip over. But anyway, I wanted to share that, and hopefully we'll you folks be able to take advantage and make yourself one.
Yeah. C clamp,
Where did
pipe
the
clamp.
adapter come from?
Yeah,
When I
well,
say that, I mean you bought it, right? But I mean,
What's
Is
that?
there a name and is there a place we can find something like that?
Find something like this?
You talking
Yeah.
about the adapter?
The adapter itself. If we were trying to make that.
Oh, right
the
here.
M33.
Yeah, I bought this from, I think I got this from Packard Woodworker Supply is where I got.
Packard
Okay.
Tool Works.
Yeah, but
Great.
some, you can get it from various different suppliers, and they're about. I got this from Amazon. I'm sorry, I got this from Amazon. It costs like $24. But everything else I got at Home Depot. So,
I like it.
Outstanding.
yeah, so it's
There's-
I did have to. There is a little bit of welding here. You got to weld to this. These nuts here. There's a nut right here. What I have to do to get it to swivel, I had to just drill the threads out, kind of make it a threadless coupling. There's one here, and then this 3/4 the same way. It was all drilled out. So you got to have some drill bits, and you got to figure out a way to attach to this if you don't have a welder. You could probably drill it and tap it with a 1/2 inch if you got the tap.
Hey, Dewey, what's
Yeah.
the purpose of the long connector there between your two bolts going? No, there.
That one?
No, the long one. The long
That
nut.
one. Well, I suppose you got a bowl that is 10 inches in diameter. So if
Okay.
you got to be able to extend it out, or else it'll bump into this thing here.
Gotcha.
You
And
know?
so that's the purpose of the 3 nuts that you have there? The long and the 2 short nuts?
Okay, we're right here. Oh, you mean over here? Right here?
No, go over to right there where your hand is.
Oh, right here? This? What
No,
this
no,
nut-
Dewey.
Dude, she means the long nut.
The
over
long
here?
nut.
That one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this, when I started out, I had a little old short piece right here. Right here.
That's what I thought. It's an extender. It's connecting two bolts
Yeah,
together.
and
Two-
I
two
said,
pieces
well, no,
all
I got
thread.
to be able to make this thing go that way. So all that is just a coupling nut. So said I could couple it. Oh.
Let's
Anyway.
talk about that bowl.
Well, all it is pear.
I like that. That is cool.
The
Piece of
bowl
pear.
is gorgeous.
It's piece
I
of
love the way you carved the top.
Yeah, it's what I did. I saw. I was watching YouTube and watching a lady actually weave a bowl, weave a basket. So I said, well, what she does is here on the top, this top part, she'll take little strips, and here, if I can try it. They take these little strips and stick them in between this seam here and wrap it around the top to hold it. She'll have a strip on the outside and a strip on the inside, and then she puts a little piece of rope or something through here to kind of decorate it up. And I was going to carve a piece of rope into this, and I hadn't got around to it, But anyway, that's what this is for. If you go to YouTube or someplace and watch somebody weave a basket, that's what these things are for. Is for to hold the top. So, but anyway, this is strictly a carving exercise. Is all it is. And right now, all I got on it is some sanding sealer, so I've got to do some sanding and some other things. And I got to come up with a handle to go over the top too. So
Looks like a lampshade.
Chinese hat.
this is a glue chuck, and of course that'll come off eventually whenever I get ready to finalize it. But
You have way more patience than I do, Dewey.
Sir,
You have way more patience than I do.
well,
Extra time.
let's put it this way. I'll carve for a half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I'll just say, forget it. And I'll turn around and walk off. And then I'll say, well, I need to go back and do some more carving. But one thing about carving is you can walk away from it and then come back to it. You know, you can go do something else and then come back to it, because it gets pretty tedious and nerve wracking after a while to do all of this stuff, you know, because you gotta make sure that all these little seams, like right here, that they're all they're all the same depth, and so that it makes it look realistic. And so I like carving pear because it carves pretty easily, and stuff like ash and hard maple is a little difficult, but maple works pretty good. But anyway,
Is that fruit pear or Bradford pear?
it's Bradford
Okay.
pear. Yeah, it's one of the trees blew down in the neighborhood, and I went over there and harvested it, and that's part of that.
It's good wood to turn. I like it.
But I'm not going to do
Chop the
anything.
neighbor's tree down?
No, the wind blew it down. It was on a median here in the addition. It's part of the HOA stuff. It blew down, and I just took my chainsaw over there and went over and did what I needed to do to that sawed it up, split it up, loaded it up, brought it home. You know?
You did a
That's
public
cool.
service,
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
right?
They didn't have to haul a bunch of stuff off. I did
Yeah.
a bunch for them, you know. So, you know, they ought to paid me
Exactly.
instead of the little people that eventually haul the rest of it off. But anyway, any other questions or comments about this
No, it's pretty.
thing? It's
No, I
Looks
can't
great.
wait to see it
Nice.
when you've got it, the finish on it. It'll be gorgeous.
Looks great.
I'm gonna
Really
have to.
pretty.
I gotta do a handle,
Hmm.
and I'm thinking
Okay.
about getting a piece of popular Dow, steaming it, well, carving it, steaming it, bending it, and then that'll be my handle.
Okay.
Oh, that'll be cool. That'll be
Cool.
cool.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, that's neat.
we'll
Yeah,
see.
it's-
We'll see.
nice
how it
idea.
turns out. But anyway, thanks a lot, guys, and I'll put the thing in the newsletter about this third hand. So
That'd be
hopefully,
great.
Oh, great.
all right.
Yeah, a lot of people would be able to make that. That's a handy little
Yeah.
jig you got there. That's great.
No, it doesn't take a whole lot. You know, like this base. Probably what you could do is just get a piece of 3/4 inch plywood
Right?
and countersink it on the bottom.
Yep.
Put your nut there. See,
Yep.
you know,
Do
Mhm.
that,
Use a
but
C
or a
clamp
piece
to
of
hold it down.
yeah,
a piece of 2x6 or 2x8 or 2x10.
whichever.
whatever.
yeah,
Right.
whatever. You know, so
even if you did find a welding shop to do that, probably wouldn't charge you any more than $10-15 for the little bit of tack weld you have on there.
yeah, you know, like there's
Yeah.
a tack here and there's tack here, and that's
Right.
it.
Right. They
Yeah.
wouldn't charge you. They might not even charge you. They would get a kick out of what you've got.
If you got a buddy that's got a welder, they'll weld it up for you. You know,
Right?
So-
6-pack of beer,
yeah.
3 for him, 1 for him, 4 for you, 5 for you.
There you go.
Sounds fair, right?
Yeah, whatever, whatever.
Sounds like Dane is getting himself in business here. 5 for him and 1 for the other guy.
Right?
I had a
Right.
cousin that had a gravel hauling business, and he hauled a bunch of gravel and spread it out for a neighbor. Didn't charge him anything. Yeah, it's okay. That's what neighbors do. One night he come in and it was dark, and he tried to go into his shop, and he ran into something, and he turned on the light, and there was this great big brand new air compressor sitting right there.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
Yep.
Fantastic.
So anyway, but that's all I got, guys. Anyway, thanks a
All
lot.
right.
Very
Thanks,
nice.
sir. All right. Let's go see what Mr. Slaughter's got. Hey, Dale.
Hey, well, we'll start out with live edge, piece of walnut.
Beautiful.
It looks
job.
great.
What's your fit?
Finished it with about 5 coats of shellac.
Okay.
There you go. Looks good, Dale.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then I got natural edge piece of box elder that I did. It's got about 10 coats of the Minwax tung oil.
I
Looks
like the
good.
shape. I like the shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shape's beautiful.
Yeah, I try to do each bowl a little bit differently. And I was hoping Scott Teague was going to be in tonight because I made a duck's chuck like he suggested and made a whole bunch of these.
Oh, that's
Cool.
great. Yeah.
Good
for
He'll be on towards the end of the meeting, Dale.
Okay, well,
Yeah, he's
let me know when he's in after the demo, and I'll show these to him.
okay. Yeah, and if not, I'll let him know afterwards. So very good.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm going to be taking a picture of these for the newsletter too.
Yeah. Well, you want to show them off on what you did and how you made
Yep.
them?
Yep.
Go ahead, take
And
your
I was
time on
hoping the Duxbury's would be in too because I did make a duck chuck and use a duck chuck for that.
I'm here. I'm
it.
here.
Here.
Just
Okay.
Here.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't see you in earlier.
I was hiding.
Yeah, so but yeah, my first try at a duck's chuck didn't work too good, so I had to make a second one, but I got a second one working. So
Neither did mine.
yeah.
Let's see the filigree work you put on those with the duck's chuck.
Well, here's one made out of oak, and
There you go.
I dyed it.
The light behind
Oh,
you
nice.
blocked that out.
Back towards you a little bit.
The light behind you is doing it.
There you go.
No, when you was pushing it toward the camera, it worked better.
Yeah.
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 There you
Yeah.
There
go.
we go. Right there.
Look at that.
Right there.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Looks good.
Beautiful.
Can you turn it a little bit towards the light? Make it just a little clearer.
And here's I think this one's walnut. I mean, that one, yeah, that one's walnut that's just been finished.
Nice job. Real nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
Good job, Dale.
Yeah, he was paying attention last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And here's a piece of walnut that I don't know if you can tell it on my camera, but I actually dyed it with some flame intrinsic dye
Okay.
from Martin Saban Smith.
Can you turn it just a little bit towards the light? No, the other way. Turn it the other way. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Now we can see the color real well. Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. And there's one I made one that I didn't do anything with it because I thought the box elder looked nice.
Oh yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
I just left it natural.
Yep.
What's your lanyard
Looks good.
material?
That's just, I think it's fake leather.
Okay. Looks real to me.
Well,
Right.
I got it either at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I don't remember which. And they had either brown or black. And I asked the wife which one she liked, and she liked the brown better than black.
Sure.
That's more
That
realistic.
looks good.
And I got some of them got gold things here, and some of them got silver.
Oh, cool.
Nice job.
So
Okay.
what,
Good job, Dale.
what method did you use to hold each medallion on the duck's chuck?
Double-sided tape.
Mhm.
Okay. I figured out I have just a devil of a time getting the backing off the double-sided tape. So I
I
figured
know.
out
I know.
painter's tape.
Every time I'm trying to get the backing off of that, I'm cussing a blue streak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what I do is painter's tape on each side and then CA glue it.
Mhm.
Painter's tape. It works perfect. And it takes 1/3 the time as the double-sided tape.
Yeah, but
Get
for
the
me,
backing off and
for
get
me,
the backing off
time
of
is
it.
cheaper than the CA glue.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. All you do is take your jackknife and stick the point of it right in the surface and lift the face of it off. I do demos. I have to do this 300 times a time. And it's so simple. Take your jackknife, take a point and stick it right in there and lift the top off. And it just comes right off.
And then sometimes with
Brand the
static
paper you use it.
electricity, I can't get the backing off my hand.
Well, don't use that damn mounting tape. That mounting tape they sell are these mounting squares. My God, you'll bust a piece before you get it off there. I don't know what to do that stuff, but
And then I have to spend 10 minutes sanding the glue that's from the double-sided
Yeah,
tape
the
off the
adhesive.
back.
Yeah.
Because even denatured alcohol won't take that glue off.
before you mount the thing, you spray the back. You finish the back of it first. And then when you put it on the chuck, when you put it against the tape, it holds better and you can clean it right off.
I used to do a lot of scroll saling, and I'd use double-sided tape to put the patterns on. And what I do is I would take, and once I wanted to get it off, I just use like that Scotch double-sided clear tape. I take paint thinner or whatever and just soak it real good, and then it'd come right off. You could then rub it off.
Yeah.
It takes that sticking off pretty good.
Well,
But
Hot glue works as well.
I like that idea of using CA glue and 2 pieces of painter's tape. That's a cool deal. Cool.
That works well for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Cool.
In fact, the piece I'm going to show tonight, I use that to hold the lid while I turn the inside. It works really well.
yeah, when you're on the budget, the double-sided tape is cheaper because it lasts a lot longer than using CA glue for each one.
For my mental health, it's easier for me to use the CA glue. I get frustrated with that double-sided tape.
What do you use that double-sided duct tape? Is what everybody uses?
I've got Duck Brand, which is horrible, and then I have the 3M Super Hold, which is bad, but not as bad as the Duck Brand. The Duck Brand's awful.
Yeah, the double-sided carpet tape works really well.
Well, when I went to get the double-sided tape this time, the only thing Lowe's had was the Duck Brand. And I looked for it in Walmart, and they didn't have any at all because our Walmart's it's a superstore, and it's one of the ones they're redoing for a grand reopening in July.
Uh-huh.
So they're half empty of everything right now.
Does that Duck Brand have that blue backing on it? Duck Brand?
Yeah.
That stuff is horrible.
I don't remember
what dental tool. I try pulling it off with a dental tool and it doesn't work.
I don't remember what brand Turner's tape I bought, but it's pressure sensitive. You have to hold pressure on it for a little bit to get it to stick. I don't have a problem getting it off or getting it to hold.
That's that Spectrum or Spec tape. That's what stuff. That's pretty good stuff.
I leave my tape with a tail on it. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And when I start to pull it off, you see how it's coming off from behind? So I can just take that piece and just slip it off, cut what I want, and I got both sides at the same time. I don't know if you see that. So that's how I'm
try that
doing
next
it.
time.
That's a good idea. I like that.
I hadn't tried that, so that'll make life much easier.
I would have thrown, and this is the duct tape. I would have thrown it through the wall.
Yeah, that's why I switched to the CA and painter's tape.
I understand, and when
Hey,
this was like an accident that happened, I said, well, I like this accident. I'm doing this from now on. So yeah, I keep the tail on it, and it, it's there. When I pull back, I can take the piece from both sides and just put it on what I want to put it on. It's great.
Well, if I had
Guys.
a couple of times, if I had been videotaping my doing that, I would have had to edit quite a long portion of it because the language was getting pretty blue.
The only problem,
Guys, and going back to what Jim Duxbury said, don't try to peel double-sided tape from any edge or cut edge because you've mashed it. It's been mashed right there. Take something sharp and stick it a quarter or halfway through,
That's
and
right.
peel it toward where it's pressed around the edges. If you try to get double-sided tape off the backing off of it near the edges, yeah, it's not gonna come loose.
You'd be there all day.
no, it's not. That's for sure.
Another thing you can do to get that backing off is touch it with something hot. Not real hot, just warm, and it'll peel back. It'll fold right over.
Hit
That's
it
like
with a torch or a lighter, huh?
Yep, that's what I worked in a paper mill, and we used double-side taping to put splices to splice two rolls together
Right.
for a continuous sheet. And that's how we'd get the double. We kept, believe it or not, old ironing. We just touch it on the base of it, and the plastic will fold right back.
Good info.
Yeah,
It's amazing what we discovered.
exactly.
I tell you someone that can take that tape off real easy, and that's the lady, the last name DeGroot. She did
Oh,
it.
yes.
Becca.
She can take
Yeah.
that duct tape and lay it out, and she can take that backing off and just lickety split. She does it from the middle, and she doesn't have to fight it at all. I don't know. I've forgotten how she does it, but it was amazing. She just it's off. So,
Yeah, I think it's Rebecca Dewey. Isn't it Rebecca DeGroot?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She
Yeah.
cuts it with a razor knife and then uses the point of that razor knife and sticks it into the backing at about the middle of the tape and lifts it and then goes from there.
yep.
So anyway, well,
That'll work. All right. Anything else on double-sided tape?
I think we pretty well rode pretty much
All right.
the horse.
Yeah, it'll be a good segment to clip out on for YouTube. So that's great. Good stuff. All right. So with that,
Food for
let's
thought.
go see what Wayne's got. Hey, Wayne.
Oh, good evening, guys. How you all doing? Hope you're keeping well. I just had a play in the workshop on my live tonight. Didn't do a lot of turning. I did more of a beginner's guide, if you like, to doing colouring with iridescent paints. Now, this was the last piece that I did,
Yeah.
which is yet again another. Well, the two outside ones are string. The middle one was done with a chain, and the paint is still very, very wet on that, so the colours haven't come out. So that was that one. This one, now these are all practice pieces. All these pieces of wood will be used again. This is inspired by Gary Lowe. Gary Lowe is a professional turner from the UK in the Highlands of Scotland, and he did a thing a lot of years ago called Cosmic Clouds. So
Yep.
I've done the Cosmic Clouds inspired by Gary. So that was that
Colors are
one.
really popping on that one.
Yeah, they are on this
realized
one.
when I
On
did
this
that.
one, they really. Now remember, I've used the same colours on this one that I've used on the next one, which is a centrifugal. and yes, a lot of people have done centrifugal. Believe it or not, they are the same colors, but they are very muted.
Well,
Yeah.
how did you apply? How did you apply the previous one?
Oh, the previous one, what I did, I put dots of paint all around. 4 colors on there: the blue, the green, the red, and the violet of the Joe Sonia's iridescence. And I just put dots all around it, and then used my airbrush, obviously without any paint in, just blowing air to spread the paints around.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's how I did that one.
What brand? What brand of paints do you use?
It's the Joe Sonia's paints. Joe Sonia's iridescence. In the States, you can get them from Chromacraft, because it's Chromacraft that sell them. You can get them on Amazon, but in the UK you can get them from Emma, the Tiny Turner.
It's Paints and Pigments now.
Paints and Pigments now. Thanks, Jamie. Cheers for that. Because Lynn, who was doing the Joe Sonia's UK, has sadly passed. Emma's taken that over, and it's Paints and Pigments if you're in the UK. Chromacrafts if you're in the States. You can buy them from Amazon. I think Todd from TLF Works said tonight he had a look on Amazon, and they were about $40 for the 6-pack of the Joe Sonia's, which is red, blue, violet, green.
Link. Wayne, you can also get them here in the States at JoeSonia.com.
JoeSonia.com. Yeah. Now, which other one did I do? I did do another one. See what I did with these. Seeing as how I wasn't planning on finishing anything tonight, what I did was just got a few blanks, and this one is done with a balloon. So again, what I've done, I've put dots of paint around. I've got a half blown up balloon, not so it's really tight. A half blown up balloon, and you just go into the paint and do a twist. Go into the paint and do a twist. Now, on the other side of this one was the centrifugal. So when I turned around and did the centrifugal, obviously some of the paint on this wasn't dried properly. So you can actually see it has spread out. There are various places. Yeah, there are various places where the centrifuge has actually worked on this as well, and I think that's brought out quite a neat effect, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a couple birds. You got a rat. You got an otter.
Yeah. No, I first did using the balloon technique, and I first did this. Oh God. I think 2018, 2019, and I called it the Galaxy Bowl, because I did do the twist and then put a tail on, so it actually looked like a galaxy when it was going around.
Yeah.
I think tonight when I did this, I put a little bit too much paint on, so I had to go over a few times to get the effect. But that's where I'll be.
Looks like that bird's going to peck your eye out.
You got a seahorse on there. I like the effect on that one really well, Wayne. I like.
Yeah,
that.
I think this one turned out the best. Yeah. I was going to be doing using some cling film or saran wrap, as you call it, and using some bubble wrap as well, but time got ahead of me, so I didn't get a chance to do them. But it was just to show people who want to get started using colors that it's not difficult. Right, you can use what on earth you want to use just to try different effects. And a lot of the ideas I get, obviously from other woodturners, but I do watch a lot of art channels on YouTube and see how I can put their ideas into woodturning.
Yeah, incorporate.
Yep. So thanks, guys. That's my lot for tonight.
But
Yeah,
Very
well
nice.
done.
Very
Very nice.
nice.
Thanks, Wayne.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Mr. Kingsley. Hey,
Hi,
Dave.
Dave.
Hey, well, everything I did in the shop this week blew up. I learned several things not to do with acrylic, and I learned a couple things that I should be more careful of with walnut. So I dug around, and this is one of the first bowls I ever did.
Pretty.
Wow. Very nice.
And
Very nice.
Yes,
it's
it
dated
is.
It's dated 2016, so this would be about the maybe the fourth bowl I ever did.
Beautiful.
And the top is part of an old porch swing, and the bottom is part of a failed gun rack. But it's maple and cherry, and just shellac because I had no clue what I was doing.
Beautiful.
And I
That's
was
perfect.
just setting up shop, didn't have a lot of wood yet. So I was thinking, encourage somebody that's relatively new that you can still do some stuff that's not bad. You know, if you
Right.
took me a lot longer than it does now, but
Just a little effort. Just a little bit of effort, right?
and this was one my wife said, that's mine.
There you go.
So that worked. I
That's
can
a
see
pretty
some
good-
mistakes in it, but I'm moving it too fast for you to see them.
That's the way to do it.
The contrast is really nice.
But if anybody, if there's anybody that's relatively new that, you know, I don't know.
You don't have to move it, Dave. We know where they're at.
Yeah, they're pretty obvious if you
Still
take the time.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Still a great job, you know,
But-
especially one or two in.
yeah.
It's very advantageous to try something like that. So very good.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now my cousin dumped so much wood on me that I haven't done segmented in quite a while because I have so much other wood. But anyhow, that's it for
That's
this
it.
week.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Nice ball.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go see what the wild man in Texas got. Hey, Billy.
Hello. All right. I don't know if Birdhouse Bob is on here yet, but I redid or no, I didn't redo anything. I did a birdhouse. This one may look a little bit weird, kind of flat on one side. Oh wait, and another side, and another. It's 4 axes.
Uh-huh.
So I turned it on 4 axes, and then this is all one piece up to the roof. I dyed it black on the finial, a dark blue down here that on this camera looks black, shades of green up here, and then yellow at the top. I left this is live oak, the house itself. The roof is Texas persimmon.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
Finished it with a couple of coats of that Rust-Oleum 2 times clear gloss, whatever that is. I don't know if it's an acrylic or an enamel or
It's an
what.
enamel.
It's not lacquer, but
an enamel.
it works well.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Nice.
And the
Yeah.
hole
Thank you.
hole's big enough for the canary to get in.
It is.
Yeah.
And the hawk that's going to go after the canary.
So it's been a month since I've been in the shop because of my wife's knee surgery and me getting my eye lasered. But other than that, I'm finally back at it. Things are getting a little back to normal. Speaking of back to normal, I sent an email out today scheduling the committee meeting for next
Okay.
Tuesday, 5 Central. for those
Okay.
that are on and are part of the committee. So
All right.
we're going to meet again Tuesday.
Okay,
Sounds good. Thanks, Billy.
Well, somebody
Let's
said
see,
where I
Billy, we
got
got
my
we got a
bird.
question. Where did you
Yeah,
get the
I see
birds
that
for your
from
bird?
Bruce.
Okay.
I get my birds off of Amazon, believe it or not. Because I'm too lazy to go half a block down the street or half a mile down the street to Hobby Lobby. But
I
no,
looked at
just-
Hobby Lobby. They didn't have any.
Well, I'm glad I got mine from Amazon.
There you go.
Saved you a trip.
Yeah.
See, it pays off being lazy.
See?
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, that's all I got.
Hey,
All right. Thanks, Billy.
Amazon's great.
Yes,
Yep.
they are. All right. Let's go see what Patrick's got. Hey, Pat.
Okay, I got another vessel I turned. This is turned in 3 pieces.
Wow.
Nice.
I didn't have a piece of walnut big enough to turn the bottom. So what I did is I turned 2 bowls and glued them together and then disguised the joint with the
Beautiful.
sorbet tool.
Wow.
If you don't tell anybody, they won't know, Pat.
You can't tell it.
Uh-uh.
And the top is Osage orange.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was going to
And
ask that.
I tried something different putting these handles on. And what I did is I took real small wire brads and held the handle up and marked the center of the handle itself, the top and the bottom.
Yep.
And then took one of the wire brads and drilled in to each piece. And then took a hammer and kind of drove it into the vessel itself and then clipped it off real short. And then I could take and put my glue on there and stick it on those pins and it would stay right there.
There you
Good
go.
idea.
I knew you'd figure that out.
It worked really good. A whole lot better
Yeah.
than sitting there holding it like this for 30 minutes.
Did you hollow that
That's
from the
very
middle there?
Right.
The bottom is 2 bowls that were hollowed
Okay.
out and then glued together. And then I
Right.
hollowed this separate. So it is hollowed out all the way through.
That looks great, Patrick.
That is.
Beautiful.
I guess
That
you,
is.
what you used to for the texture, just a sorbet type thing.
Yeah, the sorbet texturing tool. And then this was the gold is, I think it's called Ranger ink.
Yeah.
And painted
Ranger
that on
ink.
and then sanded it back to where it's only in the grooves.
Uh-huh. That's good. That looks good.
And the
Yeah.
top is just burnt with the wire and the textures with the sorbet tool.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
That is really very nice.
And it's finished with Rust-Oleum clear enamel.
Pretty.
Yeah, I like the Osage on there.
Yeah.
I like
Nice
how you have the
contrast.
shape. I like how you have the shape coming up and then the Osage coming on it and just overlapping it like that.
Beautiful.
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
Just turned a small bead on that and then
Right,
glued it
right.
together. And I actually had to kind of blend it up here. And the walnut, I used the iron acetate on it.
Yep.
And then up here at the top, I had to blend it. So it cut a lot of it away. So I just sanded it back and let it kind of blend into natural.
Mhm.
There you go.
I like it.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, iron acetate works great on walnut.
Yes, it does. It'll turn it almost black.
I know, right? Almost lickety split.
Yep.
It's black before it dries.
Yeah, it actually works better on walnut than it does on oak.
Yep.
Beautiful piece.
Very good. Make sure you get pictures to the editor.
I will.
Yeah, you
it's a
might
beautiful
want to
piece.
kind of write up a little thing for the newsletter on how you put those handles on too.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Thanks, Dewey.
Yeah.
Because I want to copy it.
Not a problem. Be glad to share
Dewey's
it.
tired of holding them.
It does get old. I mean, you stick one on there and you sit there and hold it for 30 minutes and then you do like that and it still moves.
Yeah.
Right.
This way, it's tight enough you can stick it on there and press it on and it's there.
Yeah.
You use Titebond Quick and think you only have to hold it about a minute and a half.
I was wondering if Quick and Thick would be strong enough to hold something like this, being so small a base.
If it would be if you got ingrained, if you got long grain to long grain. If it's a long grain to end grain joint, it would be nothing much is going to hold that, even epoxy.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of trust the epoxy a little
Very
better.
pretty.
I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what to say about opinions.
Oh, I use a lot of epoxy.
Well, there's 80 of us in here, and there's about 79 different ones.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And making these handles are fun.
When you make your handles, Patrick, do you take one piece of wood, do your design on it, and then cut it in half on the bandsaw, or do you do them separately?
I draw out my design first and cut it out of a piece of, I use notebook paper, and then cut a small board and cut it in half first.
Okay.
And then glue the paper to it and then put 4 drops of CA glue in each corner and 1 in the middle and here to hold it together, and cut it out on the bandsaw first, get it real close, and then use a micromotor to finish carving it out and smoothing everything up.
Right. Okay. Sweet.
Pretty.
Yeah. Good design. Good design. I like it.
Yeah. Great color combo.
That's
all right.
it.
Thank you, Patrick. All right. Let's go see Mr. Charlie. Hey, Charlie.
Hello. Now, this is to show Doug Miller that somebody was paying attention during his demo 2 weeks ago.
Nice
Pretty.
job.
Well, it's a little thicker in here because if you notice right here, the split, there was 4 splits on it. And when I started getting a little thin, it
Started talking.
I was taking too much. But this is going to be a flower planter. I'm going to put sawtooth hooks on it and then flower foam in here for artificial flowers. My wife claimed it.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Nice.
And then another flower vase.
Beautiful.
Popple. The half moon is soft maple.
Nice.
Nice.
Good character.
They're going to get tired of flower vases. That's what I'm going to make everybody for Christmas. This is also popple. They're all out of the same tree. But this one, instead of putting Lumelite in it, I made it and put a cup in it.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Cool.
work.
Now, getting the taper to match for that cup was a pain.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Very nice.
Very nice, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie, have you thought about using a water bottle inside of them?
Yeah, most of them have a 2-inch hole,
Yeah.
and it's hard to water. I haven't found a water bottle 2 inches yet. I
No. No, but if you make them like that one with the cup in it, you could use a water bottle instead of that cup.
Yeah, but he's using it as a vase.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you,
that's so that if you want to put real flowers in it.
but if you put an empty
Right.
water bottle in it, cut the top off, then you
Cut
got
the
the
top
plastic.
off.
Yeah, I got her.
Yeah. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, it's but most water bottles are too big around. My vases would be too big.
Gotcha.
Well, you could buy that expensive water that comes in the bigger bottles.
Oh, goodness.
All right, good stuff, Charlie. Thank you, sir. All right,
you.
let's go see Mr. Dawson. Hey, Al.
How's everybody? Hope everybody's having a nice evening. Now if Jamie or if Pete is on, if they have something to show, you could have my time here because it's probably going on 1 o'clock in the morning your time. So Jamie, if you have something,
they haven't even offered up anything, Al.
well, I'm saying
I would already gone
know.
across the pond.
Yeah, I know you're usually on it, but like Dave said earlier, I've been busy all week too, and I don't have a whole lot to show for it except practice. I did make this. My wife says everything I do looks the same, but I made this winged bull on a pedestal.
Oh, that's cool. Look at that.
What's the window, Al?
This is maple.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice.
But
Nice, huh?
I said I think I made maybe 10 spheres this week. Try to get all one size, but I'll have something. I'll show it next week. If I have to make 10 more, that'll be more practice. But that's what I've been doing is, I showed, did you see how I showed you guys how I had a log? Now, remember Doug had a video of making a sphere from a block, I talked about this in the past, and you put it on your corners and you spin it, and it's almost goof proof. You can make a pretty nice sphere that way. Just for the heck of it, the other day I just got a limb. I had a 4.5 inch limb, and I cut it 4.5 inches long, the length, and I put that on edge, and it went like that. And the same thing, I didn't even have to cut a square. I didn't have to do anything with it. I put the log on, and I got almost a perfect sphere out of it. So if anybody wants to turn a sphere, it's pretty simple doing it that way. And like I said, I wanted to see if I could do it without making a block. And yes, you can. As long as they're all the same width and the same length, and you put it on that angle like that, you can see the outline real quick of a sphere. And you just keep hitting on both sides, left and right, come around a little bit. And it's pretty easy. I think they're all pretty good spheres. I just can't get, if I want 3 1/4, I'm getting 3 and a little bit heavy, a little bit light, but I'll get it. I'm gonna make that little pool toy yet. So anyway, that's all I have for you. I hope everyone has a good night.
Nice
All
job.
right, thank you, Al.
Thanks, Al.
All right, let's
Might be good.
see. Let's go to Mr. Miller. Hey, Doug. Oh no, he's not there. Let's go to
He's
Tom.
incognito.
Where is Doug Miller?
Go to Tom Kenny.
Got a request from a family member for a salad bowl, and she specified the size, and I hope she knows what she was asking for.
Oh my.
She said it's supposed to be 16 inches by 5 inches.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh my God,
And
goodness.
you put a head of lettuce in that, it's going to look like a BB in a boxcar. I mean, it's going to need several heads of lettuce to make a salad.
That's
It
perfect
was a
popcorn
piece
bowl
of-
for me.
Yeah. It was a piece of cherry, and shortly after I got a coring system, it was one of my first attempts at coring, and I got 5 cores out of it.
Oh,
And it's only been sitting around the shop since, I think, 2016 or 17. So it was dry, and it fought me every step of the way. And some of the knots appeared while turning and had to be filled and finished with Parfix 3408. And it's,
Yeah, that's a great job. It's got some pretty
Thank you.
eyes in it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
and I think as it ages, it's gonna be really pretty.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's beautiful now. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
being dry raises a question. Can you take something like that that's real dry and then
Oh.
soak it in water or detergent water for a little while and
No.
maybe
No.
I've never done that.
No. Come on.
I've tried soaking my wood out here, you know, the mesquites and the eucalyptus, and you can't make wood take on water or moisture like that to make it easier workability.
Okay. Just
The
I heard
difference-
somebody say they did that. I'm just wondering.
Greenwood has the moisture in the cells, whereas weathered wood has moisture in between the grain.
Okay.
When it's greenwood and it's in the cells, it's softer. In between the grain, it's just wet.
Yeah.
Right.
But the cells
Yeah.
themselves have dried out.
Once the cells break, you're not adding water back to them cells.
Yeah.
Because if that was the case, I would be storing all my logs in my pool.
Anyway, Tom, that was
Yes.
beautiful bowl you made. Gorgeous.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Yes, most definitely.
Sorry to
Doug-
interrupt.
Dougie's back.
All right, thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to Doug. Hey, Doug.
Hey guys,
There he is.
sorry, I had to step out. My son FaceTimed us. 2 more
No,
weeks
that's
till
all right.
graduation.
There you go.
Let's see. Let's start this way. I showed y'all that or shared with you making that a couple weeks ago. There's the box that goes with it. So you can see
There you
how
go.
it fits, and that'll get put on a stand probably tomorrow. I've got tomorrow off. Though that 3-letter word that's so ugly is really cramping my style as far as turning. But anyway, this box and thing will get hopefully get finished tomorrow while I've got a day off and Connie's at work, so I'll have the day to myself. The other big thing I've been doing, this is a pair of legs. So they're not exact. This one needs to be thinned in this area right here to match this one just a little bit better. Other than that, they're not too shabby. So and they'll get trimmed off on this end once they're installed. I'll cut them so they're nice and square, flat to one another. And then let's see, I've got one more piece here. If I can get these keep them from falling. Yesterday I had a bit of a catastrophe with my first chunk of wood. And so I quickly, I put some colored epoxy in it and set it aside, picked up another chunk. And this was a little crotch piece. I think this is Bradford pear. I'm not sure, but you can see right through there, the crotch section. Pretty little piece of wood. Still have the tenon on it. I got to finish it up yet. But as far as turning, sanding, it's got 2 coats of oil on it. I'll put at least 1 more coat, maybe 2. But it won't get very shiny. The walnut oil just doesn't bring up a shine at all. However, once it's good and dry, I can come back and buff it, and it will take on a bit of a shine then. So, yeah, I've got the light, so you can see the crotch running all the way
Oh
through
yeah,
the center
yeah,
of
it's
that.
got some feathering.
Yeah,
Looks good.
came out to be a real nice piece. For a piece of scrap, I've got a 5-gallon bucket here. It's got a bunch of quote unquote scrap that I'm just kind of working through. 'Cause I just want to show people you don't have to go out and spend a whole bunch of money to turn some pretty stuff. That little crotch piece is one of those. I think anyway. So that's what I've got.
Well done, Doug. That little
Thanks,
piece
guys.
there with the feathering coming through it, it
Yeah.
almost kind of looks like the vertebrae of a snapping turtle that's been turned away on the underside of the shell.
Yeah, a little bit. Sure does. Sure,
Yeah.
it goes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's pretty much end to end right there. Of course, this is how it was growing. This is the bottom. These were the 2 top branches that came out.
Right.
And this was the big joint, and it was fairly flat. Was the neat thing. So I figured I had some good crotch figure in there, and sure enough.
Yep.
So there you go.
Very good. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. So almost 5 to the top of the hour. So that means that we must be coming up on our safety moment. So Safety Sue, take us away.
We're going to talk, hi guys and gals, we're going to talk about shoes or our feet or lack of safety on our feet. Everybody is responsible for their own shop. And I say this a lot because I do know that some folks wear footwear that's kind of like on the edge of not safe versus safety. So I'm asking everybody to wear closed-toed shoes without holes on top and without silicone, thin silicone on top. I could just squirmish when you drop a tool and it goes right through that silicone into your foot. Again, no sandals and slides, whatever they are. It's like a sandal without the little thing going in between your toes,
and no strap in the back.
Yeah. And so guys, just be careful. Girls, just be careful of your feet. And most of us gals that are turning don't wear heels because they're so uncomfortable. But if you have somebody that wants to wear heels, either sex, I don't care, tell them not to go into your shop because they don't need to slip and fall in a bunch of sawdust and dust and all kinds of stuff. So be careful this week. Watch your feet and then watch what you're doing on the lathe. So be careful this week. Take care of yourselves, and I'd love to see you next week.
You're talking about
Happy
heels.
Memorial Day.
Hey,
There you go.
Sue, if they're wearing platform heels, is that acceptable?
If they can walk on a platform without falling over and they're comfortable, it's up to them. I personally would not. But
Then there's Doug Rowe.
Well, I was going to say Doug Rowe's really.
Doug Rowe.
I was going to say Doug Rowe is really glad to hear that last comment.
I know it. And also, guys, don't wear stilts. Okay, don't wear stilts. Okay, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be careful. Have fun on the lathe, but be careful, you guys.
Lower the lathe or build yourself a platform. Don't wear heels. Moral of the story.
Moral of the story. Closed-toed shoes. Just be careful of your feet.
Send that clip to Doug.
All right, so with that,
here.
we are going
to wear heels if I'm wearing the bikini.
And of course, you've got your wig on too,
in the house.
Right. Absolutely.
All right.
My demo coming up on June 4th. I'm going to start planning not the demo as much as the outfit. And then my goal is to see if I can make Safety Sue pull her hair out before the demo starts.
Well,
2
I'll
weeks,
pull out
brother, 2
one
weeks.
one hair for you, but not all of them.
Oh, come on. There's nothing wrong with joining the group.
That's right.
All right. So with that, we have Mr. Matt. We're going to Mr. Matt Harbor's shop this evening because we have Mr. Mark Wallace, that Captain Eddie and I twisted his arm into doing a demo for us this evening. So Mark is going to be doing a really neat presentation and a little bit of turning here on how he embellishes something. So typical house cleaning. I will be muting everybody. If you have questions, please put them in the chat and or save them for the end of the demonstration, unless Matt or Mark are going to sequester questions from the gallery here. Otherwise, we will hold them or put them in the chat and we'll go from there. So with that, I'm going to mute now, Matt.
Yeah,
And
we're
unmute yourself.
unmuted, so you can try.
And I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you folks see this without?
Yes. Hold a little bit higher to your chin. There you go.
All right. So this is what I did, and this is what Captain Eddie and Dane wanted me to show. What I've used is I turned 48 little circles around the perimeter of my platter. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to create a platter. Then we're going to use the one-way drill wizard, which allows you to put the drill in your banjo, and then with this lever, I can then advance the drill into my piece of work. And what I'm going to be using is over there. I'm going to be using a circle cutter, typically like the circle cutters you use on a drill press. I'll put it in here, and that's what made these circles.
Very
because cool. Because I did 48 of them, it looks like I've created a bunch of ellipses, ovals, and it's just the fact that each of the circles are are connecting or overlapping each other, creating this optical illusion of the ellipse, the oval. I'm not sure. So with that, let's get started. Switch to the vMix. All right, I'm going to try doing this with my power cap, and you folks need to tell me if you get too much interference or noise. Then I'll change to a regular visor. So how is my voice coming out? Is it distorted?
It's good. You sound great. Sound great.
Okay. So I'm going to start out with, well. Yeah, just pull it out that way. I'm going to be.
Matt, you going to manage the cameras?
I am. That's what
okay.
This is. Yeah, he's going to take care of that, and I'm going to just yak on. So I like using the Lyle Jamieson parabolic 5/8 inch bowl gouge that was manufactured by Doug Thompson. And what this really is just a knockoff of David Ellsworth's bowl gouge, because Lyle learned from David. You want to show it closer from the overhead camera? Sure. On the right over there. Will be over here?
By the headstock, yeah. There you go. Yeah, so that's a parabolic flute.
Mine, after I grind it, using my Wolverine, I then the back right there. Okay. So I grind off the back of this, giving me a short 1/8 inch bevel, which is great for going on the inside of bowls or the platters. With this one tool, and I pretty much am going to be to make this platter. What I've done thus far is I took a Forstner bit and drilled a hole in the center of this blank that I mounted on my stronghold, my one-way stronghold chuck with what I'm gonna, so this is the top, and this is gonna be the bottom of, is I'm gonna be squaring and then truing it up on the sides, and then I will be putting in a recess so that I can flip it over and mount it on my chuck. I personally use recesses more than tenons lately on my planters because I like to decorate the inside. And the people that I give these to, they don't, they're not wood turners, so they don't care the fact that the mounting point is still there. If I was going to give this to a wood turner, I'd probably then, take it and put it in my coal jaws and, take away the tenon or the recess. But wood turners, they don't seem to mind. And by the fact that I have decorated the inside, which I'll show you how I do, it looks intentional that that's what I wanted to do. So what I want to do now is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the face, and I'm going to be tool on my hip, pushing down, using the wing of the tool. And I'll just do that to get it so that it's true. Then I'll come over to the front of it, which will be the back of this, and true it up so that I figure out where the top of my rim is going to be for when I turn it over.
They're going to ask Mark, what size is the blank?
Okay, this blank is 13 inches wide. It's soft maple, and it's 6/4 wood, because that way I don't have, because I'm making a decorative platter, I choose to use 6/4 as opposed to 8/4, because I don't need that bowl to be very deep. It just needs to, show some white wood in there. And 6/4 is cheaper than 8/4. So that's what I choose to use a lot of the time. So now I need to turn this on. And you see we do have some wiggle and vibration. So now I need to screw it up. Well, that's the edge. And I'm going, I'm holding it down low so that I can draw it across, make sort of like a 45-degree angle so that I can get a nice haircut. Throw all these shavings in Matt's lap.
Yeah.
And one of the things you'll turn left and right-handed. The hand that is on the handle is the one that's controlling the tool, and the hand that's on the tool, on the tool, that's just anchoring it to my side, my front and my sides trued up. Now I'm going to come do a push cut into like the first half an inch or so, so that I can establish where the rim of my platter is going to be. Okay. So now I've gone all the way around, got a clean cut. So now I know where my platter is going to be. Now I want to go out and create. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use that setup for 2.5 inches, and which is the size of my chuck. And I'm going to put in, just touch the left side to the wood, trying to match up the circle, the right side, and holding it away from it. Because once I let it touch, it's going to flap over and it makes a lot of racket. My finger in the part of the caliper, because I don't want a broken finger. So here we go to try to measure the recess where I want to cut. Okay, I touched it and it flipped over. Very good. Cutting 10-inch Badan. They're nice and sturdy. They, I can go, because I'm using one-way stronghold chucks, I don't have to deal with the dovetail on a lot of the other jaws. Mine are all got the serrated edges or straight. So I can just go in straight and clean it up. So here we go. Need to go, 8, 2, and no more than a quarter. And this is, that's too high. The cutting tool is because it's much wider and I can take I can get more wood and move it across so I get the same depth. I probably could have been good with that, but I want to tonight. Now what we're going to do, now I'm going to establish where the foot is, and looks like I'll make it about right there. Because I don't like to do a lot of sanding. I found that it's easier to dish it out and sand that curve as opposed to when you make a square edge. Yes, it looks nice and distinct. It's end up on each side of it. So I'm just going to sort of bring in here. Now I need, this is waste wood here, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. You know, I have a collar that tightens up so that your neck, but it doesn't work real well when you neglect to tighten it up and put it on. Now I have curlies down my back. So what I want to do now, I'm going to be this is the one I'll actually be decorating with. So I've already created, you know,
The top camera now, if you want to show it from there.
the top camera, this one?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what I've done, you know, is I've created an OG.
There you go. Towards you. There we go.
So you can see that, you know, it comes down and then you're doing a bead and then you transition into a cove. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this and we're going to divide it into thirds. Visuals, I draw a line here. This will be the top of the bead, and then here, this will be, you know, the bottom of the cove. Then to figure out, okay, so I also want to figure out how far up I want to take all this waste wood away. What size do I want to make my rim? I think I want to make my rim about there.
He's about ½ inch in from the top.
Yeah, from here.
Thanks, Matt.
But it's going to be like a quarter of an inch. This is the fun part.
It's all fun.
I'm going to take the wood from this first line up to this line, and I'm just going to waste it away, get rid of it. Being that I'm going to turn this left-handed so that I'm out of the line of fire. So if it thing comes off the blade, it's going to go that way and it's not going to whack into me. And also, by standing over here, I can shoot the curlies, you know, the shavings that way, and they don't end up all over me. So if I found this out that when I'm doing, you know, wetwood bowls, if I stand over this way, I don't get my smock and my clothes all soaking wet. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to take rid of this, rid of it. What I'm not looking here at the point of my tool, the results of my cut. Start out with my weight on my right foot and then I transition over to my left foot so that the tool is always, tucked into my side so that it's not really moving. My body is the one that's controlling the movement of the tool. Now, what I want, remember we were doing thirds. So this is going to be the top of my bead. This is going to be the bottom of my cove. So now I'm going to start here, scooping out a little bit of the cove. So I wish you guys could see this much dancing. So yep, you have to do the woodturner's dance. Now what I want to do is I want to start, probably move the tool brush closer. What I want to start doing now is making a nice, gracious, curving flow. Now I'm using the long edge of this fingernail grind right in cutting. Carved out. You can see I don't really, because this was nice and sharp. I do have ridges, but I really don't have any tear out. I'm gonna use my fingers because they're the best ridges and valleys that I need to get rid of. The first thing I want to do is because I want, when we set this on the table, to, just bevel it in a little bit so that the edge of you can see I've got a dark spot right here, a ridge I need to get rid of. Well, that didn't, I'm going to keep the handle real low down to my leg and come up here and try to do a shear slice. And you see, if you look at the shadings that are coming off, they look different than they did before. They're nice and whispery.
Make an angel hair.
Yep, like angel hair.
Real nice cuts you're doing there, Mark.
So now I can do this. This is one of those things that you can break rules and you can go both ways. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get rid of any dark lines and ridges or valleys. I have to get rid of. See if I can do that. Okay, there's
As
more
only
right
seen
here.
on Worldwide.
Pardon me, what?
I said, as only seen on Worldwide, you going back and forth like that, getting angel cuts. That's great.
Yeah, I'm trying, and speed is your friend on these. Now that we've got it round and balanced, the faster you're turning, the easier your cuts are to control. And the lighter, the less effort you have to put into it. This right here. I can see it. See if I can get rid of that. You still got one ridge. I got a ridge right there. Your best measuring tool to figure out what you have to do. I've got I got a ridge right here that I need to get rid of because this is supposed to be sloping out. And it's right there. Let's see if I can get this. And actually right here is what I have to do now. And I'm not putting very much pressure on it. So that it's cutting the high spots. Yeah, a little bit more, but you get the idea. You just want to refine your shape until you're pleased with it. Oh, nice. So this isn't going to take much to sand it out. Now what I want to do is I want to show you, where's my tool? Which one are you looking for? Your other tool, your scraper here. Pardon me? Your scraper here. No, I don't want that. I want what's over here in the toolbox. It's off camera. So what I like to do is I like to embellish the recess so it, when I leave it, when people flip it over, oh hey, look at this. So what I'm going to use is my small Corby texturing tool. You want to put it at about 500 RPM. You want to present it so that it's on, on center, and I'm just a little bit below. I think like this.
The spiraling wheels he's using, it's not the texturing wheel.
That's true. This is a spiraling wheel.
Yep.
And I've taken off the spiraling mechanism, so I'm doing this freehand. Want that each time it comes out just a little bit different.
Hey, Mark, how fast are you going to go?
I'm only going to.
Can you say again?
500 RPMs. Right now it's
500.
at 480. We're going to try to create a little spiral here. All right. So now I want to put a line to differentiate. Oh, I want to put one on the present the tool vertically so that I don't want to create a spiral. I want to just create cross hatches. Now I want to come back and put a line on the other side of that. Take this little hog's hair paintbrush that's been cut off and use it to burnish and clean up the little whiskers and the feathers that were created in here. So Matt, can you zoom in and show them?
I don't know if we can see it or not, but well, that's nice. Let me tilt this down a little bit. And move it this way a little bit.
That's wicked.
Oh yeah, they should be able to see that.
Yep, very nice.
So then I will take my wood burner and around the edge, I'll put my name, the year that it is, and this is soft maple. So I put. So we're finished with this portion. Now what we want to do is we want to flip it over. It seems to be running fairly true. Now what I want to do is what I have to do now is because when I am using the drill and advancing it into the wood, it needs to be cutting equal depth. To do that, the face of this platter needs to be perpendicular to the axis. So it needs to be flat. So what I'm going to be doing is a pull cut to clean that off.
Just like you did on the other side.
Just like I did on the other side. So here we go. I'm positioning myself. So I'm going to start out on rock back to my left foot. You can hear the chatter out towards the edge where it's still not true. All right. Not 100%, but see how square I am. And I got a little dip right here So I'm gonna have to take some off here and leave there. So we'll see what I can do. Well, it's really good. I don't see any light there.
Let's roll with it.
Exactly. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna sand it.
Power center.
No,
Okay.
I used to fly RC airplanes, so I had these little sanding blocks sitting in a toolbox that haven't been used for years. Works great for here. You don't have this fancy little sanding jig. You can use a 2x4.
Yes. It's just metal, right?
Yeah, this is just, and then, this one's just a T-handle.
But they're absolutely flat, right?
They're absolutely flat, which is what you want. .80 grit.
It's in my shop.
And I stand about 500. So you just take it like this, go back and forth. It takes a lot of rockets. Now, oh, yeah, it is loose, coming off. Yeah. That's right. That was why I was making all noise. So you get the idea. I'm going to sand it so that it's flat. This, and then I turn around and I'm impatient, and this works. That works really well. But you can see that we've got it flat. You just keep that up, and the blue one, wherever the blue one is, I sanded that to 180 grit, and then I turned around and sanded this to 180. I could have gone more, but I didn't. And I put on some sanding sealer, a sealer, I sprayed it on so that when this blue dye is put in, it's not going to soak into the grain. So that when I make my grooves at the edges, I want a clear, crisp edge, not one of those when you get bleed in from your dye. Any questions so far?
Yeah.
Well, I can't see the chart.
I'm watching over here.
Okay. So again, this one I did 48. Here's another example.
I'm gonna go to the top camera here. Okay, so here.
Another example is, let's get this out of here. I made these holes smaller, but I only used 24 increments as opposed to the 48 on the red plate. What we're going to do on the blue one today is we're going to use 24 indexes as opposed to 48. Because once you see this 3 or 4 times, whether you see 24 of them or 48, it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, I like the 24 better anyway, Steve. It's an ongoing discussion about the tool rest. They noticed it wasn't the Tarmac one.
Yeah, because
So show that how little the material you have to hold it with.
this is like a 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Now, what I want to do is I want to replicate the
You want the red
the
one?
pattern. So what I want to do is I want to put a groove, about 1/4, 3/8 of an inch in. Then I want to put in my circles. Then I want to put in another groove, and then I want to scoop out the bowl. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm using a drill, just a center cutter,
thing.
and
Around this camera here, the right inside is what you're seeing.
okay. When it came originally, it was a blunt cut like this. So that's what did the red one. So then I turned around and sharpened the other side to, like 50 degrees. And I made it, a point. So hopefully that's going to, and that's what I did on the other piece. I used this point. And this is about, it's about 1.25 inches. So that's going to give me a 2.5 inch.
Okay.
Now, not in the drill, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my vice grips, clamp onto it, move my tool rest back up. So, normal
Mark,
skew, normal.
Hey, Mark, before you get started,
Yes.
where did you purchase the center cutter from?
This is a general products, and I got it from Amazon. You can get it from Ace Hardware. You can get it from
Harbor Freight.
Lowe's,
You can
Home
get it
Depot.
anywhere.
So, yeah, well, maybe not. I'll get this closer.
You don't want to give the wood any power, right?
Pardon me?
You don't want to give the wood any leverage, right?
No. Going to keep the tool on the tool rest. I know what I did different. I had this farther extended because this is running into here. You have an Allen. Now I can just do is figure out which one it is.
But at least I know where the Allen wrenches were.
No, that's not that one. Must be this one. Or is it this one? Is this metric or is this imperial?
Don't know. That's probably, I don't know. You want to try another one? I've got 2 others. At least one of them's.
Because I'm sure this is foreign made.
Oh yeah. This is.
Oh yeah, this one fits.
Yep. Okay.
we can't see what you're fiddling with.
Okay, I'm just loosening this up and advancing the cutter forward.
Oh,
so
okay.
I have
Got it.
more room to put it in front of the tool rest before it hits the drill center. Whereas before it was hitting the tool rest. Now we're going to come in here, oh, about there. First one's always easy. It's all the others that you try to make the same depth and cut. Now, what I want to do, I want to move this back. Now I'm going to, if I don't want it extended that far out, I want to just drop it back a little bit, back to where it was. Now we're going to put in the drill wizard. I don't know, can you see what I'm doing? I'm going to put this in the drill. And I want to tighten it up. Now we need to find an electrode outlet.
Here. Mark right here.
Right there, huh?
Sit on top, up there. See the power strip?
Oh. Looking in the wrong place. Yes, I see it. So now comes the hardest part of the whole thing. Getting this silly thing lined up. Because you want it.
Matt, hey Matt, we'd probably see better with the overhead.
Okay. Let me get this out of the way first.
Possibly.
Whoops.
Yeah, do the overhead and then the tailstock view in the corner. Attaboy. Good job.
All part of the service team.
Teamwork.
So now you just have to fiddle with this. It's easy to make the cuts. The hardest part is getting it set up. Because it's touching here, not touching there. And you have to adjust this banjo so that they're equal distance all the way along. Yeah, this is the part where you need to have patience. And I have learned that after raising 8 children, and have found how to be patient. Close.
Your one-way drill wizard hasn't had any modifications, has it, Mark?
Pardon me?
Your one-way drill wizard has not had any modifications.
Nope. This is exactly the way I bought it. And this is just an old drill that I went to a secondhand tool store to buy. I just needed one to fit the size here. So no, there's nothing that's been tweaked or modified. It's strictly stock. Okay, I think we're good. Lock it down. Lock it down.
Oh, I bumped this camera here with your face mask. Go.
Can you see it? Can they see this?
Yeah, the right hand screen and the overhead view.
All right.
Yeah,
So
we
I can
we can
switch
see
it.
it, Mark.
I can
You're
take this off and switch it over to here and zoom it in.
Do we want to bring this over so that's
We can try that. Hang on.
because they're, I don't think they're seeing the cutter.
I can't extend it out further, but we can bring it over like this.
Or you can't spin it.
It won't come further this way.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we've got. So, or I could go with this view here, which is here, but it's being blocked by this.
Well,
right.
It is what
So
it is.
so that
since
so
we're
that view
indexing,
will,
we could be cutting over here.
But okay, you want to try that?
I've never done that, but
Oh, I don't. My tool rest won't go that far over.
well, it'll flip around though.
You want to try that?
Sure.
All right. After all the
tweaking,
we're gonna make an adjustment for this so you can see what we're doing.
which way is this thing turned now? All right. So now they should be able to see this, yes? Or no?
Let me do this. Am I in your way?
No.
Okay.
Okay. So I want this. Okay, that's about where I want it to cut. There.
So that's going to make a pretty big circle, right?
Oh yeah, it's going to make a 2.5-inch circle.
Okay. Now, do you want to index? You want to start the indexer and get that get going?
Well, I gotta get it adjusted first again.
Do you want to fix the plate? So
Sure. And we're using a non-standard plate here. So let's go in. We'll just do that one right there.
okay, so lock it here.
And then we can just do that.
Yeah, you just
every
pull the pin
two.
out.
Okay.
All right. Good to go.
All right.
Okay.
So do they need to see this?
No.
Okay.
You guys know how index plates work. Yeah, Billy, I'll get right on it with another half dozen cameras.
Okay.
All right, let me pull this over here. All right, that's a good view there.
All right. So what I'm going to be doing is with one hand, I'm going to be turning the drill on. The other hand, I'm going to advance it forward. That's
Yeah,
about
look
as
at
far as
that.
we're going. And now what we're going to do, we're going to advance it 2 holes, because this is a 48-inch index, and it's got 48 indexes. I only want to use 24. So now I've advanced it 2. Our index move.
Did you not push it in far enough?
I guess not. So I started at 2, and we went. So it's further engaged.
Get in the hole. Okay, do it there.
It's nothing but a scratch.
Yeah, we can fix it.
Yeah, it's topical.
Shouldn't be warped like that. And We'll get this figured out, folks.
Just trying to get the camera angles, best for the viewing pleasure for everybody. That's all. So just
That's
bear with us.
true.
All right, let's go with that, Mark.
All right.
That's hard to. Oh, it's still. Is it in? Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, so
All right, with the handy dandy camera.
we started to. Okay, is this where we started?
Yes.
Then we went to here. So now we need, because we were lined up in the wrong one. Now we need to go to there.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to do two more. Two more. You make your cut, advance to the next index position, make your next cut. What's going on here? So you can see that there's a lot of vibration and instability in here that I didn't experience on my Robust, but I don't know if that's this setup or if it's this cutter that is dull or something.
It's tearing things up before there's a lot of vibration before it even starts to come apart. You should go right in, right?
You would think so.
It's taking that loose. It's taking that loose. And I don't know how to switch with me. Switch with me, and I'll hold it.
All right.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna try this again, folks. It doesn't look like it's squared up anymore.
You slide your camera around?
I can't because I'm holding the pin in the indexer.
Oh, okay.
He asked me if I could slide the camera.
Which way do we need to slide the camera?
You wanted me to do this with it. It can't move. There's a bunch of crap in the way. So yeah.
No, it's okay. No, it's
Just move.
Go.
Because I gotta readjust this thing.
There you go. Oh, just to the right.
Here it's almost touching. Here it isn't. You get the idea, folks. And then we'll put another groove in here, and then make a very small bowl.
So how much more do you want to show? What do you want to do?
How much more would you like? Did you get the idea here, or do you want me to try to
do a couple more?
Do a couple more.
Okay.
What moved? Something moved. Oh, this moved. That's what it was.
How did that move?
Apparently, I didn't have it torqued down enough.
On the tool rest? Okay.
On the tool. Yeah, the banjo is locked. But apparently I didn't have this. Lot.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So which way do you think it is? Pull it up or down? Because this is backwards the way it normally is. Yeah, okay. It's tight now.
Yeah.
Let's try this. Ooh, it moved it again. Oh, you know what it is? It's here. It's not moving here.
It's moving there.
It's moving there. So what is there?
I don't know.
There's a bolt here.
All right, so there's a little bolt underneath here that isn't tight as we need it to be.
Correct.
You don't know what size it is, do you?
Well, this came from Canada, so could be like a 12 millimeter. I don't know. Me and figuring that out I'm not the greatest. I set it to death and push buttons on a computer, not play with wrenches.
This is 19 and 17. That too big, too small?
17 is just a little too big.
Let's see what I got here. 15 and 16.
Okay. Why is 16? Oh, because it's moving that much. My goodness.
Is this tight here?
I think so.
Okay.
But this needs to be. Oh, look at how loose that was.
Wow.
So,
Yes, you did. Yes, you have to readjust them. Okay. Are we in the groove?
here, let's go to another hole.
Okay.
So we got clean wood.
There we go.
All right, let me slip it in. Let me go hold it.
I don't think that's the problem. I think this is the problem. Yeah.
You good?
What? All right. We'll see what happens. It's off.
You want to move this? Quickly down. Or not, okay. Note to self, make sure it's everything tight before you start.
Exactly. Okay, I just moved. Okay, I think we got it. All right, let's go to the next one.
Keep wanting to look around that cable.
Yeah, it's in the way. Let me adjust the camera over here. It's got too close.
It means we get two more. Oh, you almost had it. You almost had it.
Well,
Go
I
right
could do
between
this
the.
all day,
Go right.
but
No,
then some.
go between the drill handle and the cable with the camera.
And there's no way. There's some logistics issues here.
There you go, right there,
All
right
right, let's
there.
try that, Mark.
Perfect.
Perfect.
There we go. Look at that.
It's a learning experience for everybody.
Now it's working perfect. Thanks, Matt. You moved that camera and you got rid of the demoitis.
So I'm holding the camera in the position with one hand and holding the plate with the other hand.
Yeah, and I'm using both of mine to move.
Just keep doing that, Matt. You're doing a good job. There we go. Now we can see what's going on.
Because these circles are bigger, that it's exerting much more pressure on the wood.
Could very well be.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these are the biggest circles that I've made thus far.
We're trying it out for the
Yeah.
first time, but
Yeah, you can see the torque affecting it.
Well, I've tried this on Keeper MDF at home, but that doesn't have any resistance at all. It cut fine, but between the grain of this wood and I don't know if this thing's getting dull. Who knows? But we're having fun. Nothing else.
Sure are. It's making a great evening. You guys are doing excellent.
It doesn't take very long once you get everything set up and
when you go up and clean these up at all afterwards?
I'm gonna have to, yes.
Okay.
On my Merlin 2, in the Nick Agar, accessory pack, there's a couple of those, it's what Steve Gombowski said was he used for cleaning off, the used for cleaning off the gaskets on, the head gaskets.
Bristle brushes or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like a bristle brush.
Yeah.
That works real good. Yeah, with me. I think this drill, look at this.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of play.
A lot of play in it. That's what you get for buying used tools. Cheap used tools. Not the prettiest thing, but you can see the process. Well, I think we're done, folks. Since this thing just smoothed on me.
Yeah, it did.
And I can't,
Wow.
I'd have to play around with it.
A lot of tool issues tonight.
Yes.
No, that's fine. I think everybody definitely got the hint on how it's done and how the one-way drill wizard works and using the hole cutter to be able to embellish a surface like that. That's a really neat and intriguing concept. And I'm sure there's going to be multiple people in here that are going to try and find a way to make a jig without having to get a drill wizard.
You may very well be right.
Right?
I already
Yeah, I don't
have
remember.
mine. It's called a laser.
Yeah. And finish the bowl.
I don't care. We can.
What would you like to see?
How would you color it? Go ahead. Go ahead, Mark. If you feel like it, hook it up.
I'm gonna go like gorilla here. Really tighten that thing down. So I need to take that out of the
drill.
Out of the drill.
No. Hey, your
Well,
bandwidth is now
thank you, Phil.
increased. That's great.
Yeah, and we're gonna take this. We're done with this, right?
Yeah, we're done with that. We definitely want to disengage that.
Yes. And the lathe,
Right,
the
break
lathe
the heck
won't
out of
go.
Putting in the second groove. Right about there. I don't think it's the cutter. I think it was the drill and this thing or something. I don't know.
Oh, the cutter seems to be working fine.
Cutter seems to be working good.
Well, we knew it was, we found out that it was loose at the beginning, so.
Let's go back to the bowl gouge. Here's the height up. Put it back to on center. So I want to start my bowl about the same distance, as we've got here. So I presented the tool perpendicular, so that I started cutting in on the tip. Once I got the ridge, I then opened up the flute so that as I get towards the center, I want to slow the speed down. So if I would have been doing the coloring, I would have colored all of this before I took this out. But since I'm not going to be coloring. So I started out this, yesterday spraying this with my airbrush, and it wasn't getting it covered enough, quick enough for my taste. So I switched to, I took a piece of paper towel, took the spirit stain, dropped it on there, and then just wiped it all over, got it nice and tight. So if you had a airbrush, you could use a paintbrush and put it in, or you could also use paper towel and fold it up. You could use a piece of paper towel, fold it up, and coming in here and hand doing each one of these. So you can do the same thing. You don't need an airbrush. You can do it with that would, you can cover all of the grooves and everything. So that's pretty much what I intended to do. It just, because of the looseness of that one bolt and the wobble, it doesn't look as good. Well, it looks pretty good right in here.
Yeah, after we got everything tight, it looks great.
Right?
And
Yeah,
I would work a little bit more on this bowl because it's got a little hump right there in the center. But that's the extent of it.
Well, that's a very intriguing concept, and like I was saying earlier, I know there's going to be people that are going to be trying this out. I'm going to try it out eventually. This is going to be an embellishing technique that I'm going to store in my back door for future use. I've got hole cutters
for a while before actually.
I buy the cheap hole cutters to use for metal working for blade making, and so I've got those on hand. Never thought about trying to stick it in an apparatus to do what you're doing here. It's pretty neat, Mark.
Yeah, definitely an interesting technique.
Right?
Yeah, lots of possibilities. You could change the size of the circle. You could do 2 circles.
Right.
At each index.
Yep. So I had a question. We had a question on your bowl gouge again. I know you talked about it at the beginning, but could you talk about your bowl gouge again, Mark?
Sure.
I'm gonna go to the overhead camera.
All right.
You can see it on the right-hand side. There is where we are.
So this is I bought this from Lyle Jamison off his website, and it's a 5/8 inch bowl gouge with a parabolic flute, so that when you grind or the fingernail grind, because it's not a V or it's not a U, you still get a little bit of a a crest that doesn't dip in. So it makes, very predictable. And with this one tool, I've done this whole platter. I can do a bowl. I can do with this. It works great. It's made by Doug Thompson. It's patterned off of the David Ellsworth bowl gouge because Lyle, in the beginning of his career, he went and took classes with David, and so he just had Doug Thompson make these for him. You can't buy these off of Doug Thompson's website, but you can off of Lyle Jamison's website.
Right.
Lyle's and what I do is on mine, I have relieved the back, the foot of my bowl gouge, and I, just freehand ground it off so that my bevel is only about 1/8 of an inch. So that when I'm going around the inside of the bowls or the platters, I'm not bruising the wood because I'm only floating the bevel is only like 1/16 of an inch. So there's not any metal there to bruise the inside of your bowl.
Right.
So you don't have to sand forever to try to get those bruise marks out.
Okay. And then you had for lack of a better term, like a story stick with the various designs and the colors on it. Could you show that again and speak to it again?
Your art piece.
Oh, that's not a story stick. That's our club is doing an art show at the Starkweather Gallery, and this is my submission for that. So here, panels. I'd used this one is there's 6 centers back here, and I turned the grooves and then sprayed each one as I went. I mounted it on MDF, piece of MDF by hot gluing these 2 pieces together. We're touching, and then I cut the groove. Then I used the heat gun and warmed up the hot glue to pull it off, flipped it around, so that I then took these 2 corners and brought them together and turned these grooves. Then I took another piece of MDF and I hot glued this portion onto it, and then I moved my faceplate to these positions, create these, because I did leather work for a while. I had a bunch of leather working tools, so I then flattened this out, used the leather working tools with a hammer and beat them in here, used my point tool to make the grooves, then I sprayed it black, and then I used the Chromacraft Viking and this one over here, which you can't see. And then for this gold, that's Rub and Buff gold. Then I used my big, did I use the big one? I think I used my bigger full-size Sorby texturing tool to do this spiral. And then then I sprayed it all green, and then I put on liming wax to get it in all the grooves, and then buffed it off. Then on this side, their knurling tool to create this texture. Sprayed it black, I think, and then I used Egyptian gold, the Chromacraft Egyptian gold
It's like gilding paste.
gilding paste.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And you put it on your fingers. Well, I actually use a glove. You put it on your fingers, and then you just lightly go around a circle because you just want to get the tops of the marks. You don't want to get it down in the bottom of the grooves or the textures.
Yeah, in the textures, yeah.
And these here, my micromotor and the triangular Mampa tools, and then I put on chameleon flakes. So if you change the angle, it shows two different colors.
Yeah, it's just a
And then over the whole
spectacular
thing,
piece.
I used Danish oil. And
So
then
is
my
there something
buddy,
special? Is there something special about that wood and how it's framed with the bark?
Well, it's an art piece, and the
Right,
wood
right.
we got from a tree that came from Starkweather, right?
and this
Okay,
is the
that's what I was
bark.
trying to get at. That's what I was
Yeah,
trying to get at. Yes.
This is the bark that was on these. So I cut it off, and another member of our club, Thomas Kaiser, he is much more adept at flat work than I am. So I took this over to his place, but he made the frame.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, this was from a grandfather elm tree at the Starkweather Gallery, and it was like a staple in the community, a big old tree that everybody commented on, and it finally died, and so we got some of the wood to make stuff with for an art expedition.
That's great. That's what a
So
legacy for it.
yeah, it all came from that tree.
So
Outstanding.
we're having so the month of June, they're going to be on display at the Starkweather Gallery and for sale. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody wants to buy it.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yes.
Yes.
Any other questions?
All right. Yes. Thank you, Matt. If there's any other questions, now's the time to ask them, folks.
Hey, Dane, there was a question earlier about setup of that one-way jig. If he could show.
Oh,
it.
yes.
on that
Yes.
one.
Would you, Mark, would you be able to show how you set the one-way whizzer up?
Here, I can try. So this is the jig itself, and it's just got a hand drill held in there. It goes in tool post and advancing mechanism, this lever. You just put it in and you line it up so that it's at center height and also so that it is perpendicular to the face of the platter.
Okay.
Makes sense? Is there?
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
perpendic- yeah.
Like clear as mud.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it to?
Because if it's off, you're going to get one side that's deeper than the other, and you're going to get grooves that are thin on one side and thick on the other, or thick on one side and not at all on the other. If that's what you want, you can do
Sure.
that. But I was trying to get the full circle.
Mark,
Right.
on that setup there, what stops you from pushing it forward? Is there a set screw or something to keep you from
Nothing.
going too deep? Like on a drill press, how you have a depth gauge?
There is not one on this.
Okay.
Is it not controlled with that lever though?
Yeah, well,
That red hand for engaging it?
this does move, and I think I could have adjusted stops here, but I
Okay.
didn't. But talking,
Right.
with that question, there is, if I move this back, I now can advance it farther forward. So there was a stop, I just wasn't using it. So
Okay.
I think in the future,
Show the stop again because they couldn't see it.
okay, can you see?
Let me do this
Yes.
again like that.
Bottom
See
left
this?
corner. Of
There's
there you
a
go.
stop right here. It was
Right.
there. See now I back it off some more. And if I
There's the
had have
stop.
thought about it, there is a mechanical stop, and it would have been nice to have engaged because yes, I was trying to control this by looking at it.
And eyeballing it.
There is one there in my
Okay.
naivete, lack of
Okay.
experience.
No
I didn't
worries.
use it.
And then do you use a square to set the tool rest yoke, or is that not important for the
He was
for the
eyeballing it
wizard
the
to be
whole
set
time.
up square?
In my pants and eyeballing it and winging it.
Okay, right on.
I'm not a machinist. I'm a computer programmer analyst. So I just sort of I figured out a way to do it and I did it, but it definitely not the best way, but it is a way. But yes, I
You did a
agree.
great job, man. Very, very nice. Appreciate the demo.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, this is how we learn, everybody.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. I just got to say, thank you very much, Mark, for doing this. Thanks for traveling over to see Matt and bringing your equipment there to get set up and putting this demo on for us. We all greatly appreciate it, and definitely want to bring you back and have you do something else again later on.
Yeah, if you're going to be at SWAT this year, I'll be demonstrating down there.
Outstanding.
do-
I'm not going to be there, but there will be about 50 other people from the club down there.
I'm going to be there. What are you demonstrating?
I'm demonstrating how to make this, how to use your lathe as a spirograph.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I'm going to be, I'm giving 2 demonstrations at SWAT this year.
Cool.
That's great. That's great. Mark Wallace will be at SWAT last weekend of August.
Yeah, when it's really hot down there, from what I understand.
Sometimes it's not too bad. Sometimes it
It's,
can
it's
get a
only
little
outside.
toasty.
It's only
They have air
outside
conditioning.
or when the AC goes out or the power goes out, right, Tim and Billy?
That ain't so bad. Most
Yeah,
of
it's
the
a
time.
wet heat.
Why don't you
It's a
hold it
wet
like
heat.
second week in January? More of us from the north would come down.
All right.
Okie
Well,
dokie.
with that, does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, with that, on behalf of Worldwide Woodturners, once again, Mark, I really appreciate you doing this, and I know Captain Eddie is chomping at the bit to watch this video back when our webmaster Dave Rhodes gets it published to the YouTube channel and onto the web page. So, again, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And with that, let's go back to a little bit of gallery. Let's go see what Mr. Grinstad has got. Actually, I already know what he's got. Changed his name on me again. There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
Hey guys. All right. I got a couple of things here. Wayne was talking about this saran wrap. Well, this one is using saran wrap effect. So you put the
well
dots
done.
on. This is that Josana paint again. but you'd put the dots on, just, kind of dab them on here with a paintbrush, not really a dot. It's just slapping paint on here. And then you cover this whole thing with a piece of saran wrap while it's still on the lathe, and squash it around a little bit and pull it off. And it just, it makes a fantastic pattern.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it turned out real good. But anyway, I played with a lot of them like this. The different, nearly, like he said, nearly anything will make a design. You just have to find one that you like and play with them. But yeah, that turned out real good.
Yeah,
I
that's
like the
very
saran wrap.
pretty.
The,
Very pretty.
the 6 bottles that you get in that kit, that goes a long way. You don't use a whole lot of paint because you thin it out with that Flotro and thin the paint out quite a bit. So it goes a long way for you. But the other thing that I have here was a bowl that I made, this segmented bowl.
Beautiful.
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
that.
that's gorgeous.
That is beautiful, Bob.
Wow. It turned out really well. It took a little while. It takes a lot of time to put all the segments on here. But it's pretty tall too. I don't like it that tall, but anyway, if I had to do
it works.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
if I had to do it again, I'd
That's good, Bob.
years out of it.
Pretty piece.
Well, thanks.
Very cool.
But that's about a 14 1/4 inches in diameter and 4 3/4 inches thick. So it's a pretty
Can I ask a question? Okay,
Sure.
so
Yes.
let's just say, for instance, I'm just gonna pick a number, 16 pieces per ring. I'm just saying. I don't know what it is. So in order to get your design, so let's say every 2 you change the color. Every 2 you change the color. Is that
Yes, that's what I did here.
okay?
You just come up with some number. I mean, it could have been 3 in between, whatever is
Yeah,
visible
so,
by the number of segments.
okay. So I mean that's okay. I never really thought about it for a second, but now that's pretty, very pretty.
Well, thanks.
What did you do there?
They're easy to do, and you can come up with all different designs. Yeah, I've got another piece of paper here. This can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Nope, you can't hear me. All right, let me pick that
Yep,
out.
no, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, maybe I just couldn't. But anyway, this is a piece that I came up with in an Excel spreadsheet, and you can kind of play with it and color in patterns, different patterns. I think you can buy this stuff. Excel worked pretty good. But anyway, you put in your patterns, and you can see I kind of played around. I made threes, and I made floors, and zigzag pattern up, and this kind of what I ended up with. But you just kind of play with your patterns.
Right. I understand. That's a good way to figure it out. But I just never thought. I mean, the way you had it spaced out, it just occurred to me. Yeah, it's every couple you change to different wood. Every couple, So
Hey,
yeah.
Yeah, in
That's
the
it.
spring.
Yep.
Now, did you do the floating?
Yeah, this is a floating bottom in this one.
Which part is floating though, Bob?
This is floating.
Okay.
So you make a ring here. Then you start off and you make this ring out of 3/4 inch stuff or 7/8, whatever you got, and you turn it round, You know, it's
Okay.
it's about 1.5 inches in diameter, and these are 12 segments in this one. Just make a normal ring for a segmented bowl. And
Okay.
so you turn it, you put it on a base on a glue block.
Okay.
All right. And then you turn it around on the outside just to get an outer diameter. And then you turn it around on the inside of your ring. And then you make it flat. So you sand it down, make that side flat because you're going to turn it over in a minute. So once you have this ring flat, then you actually part it off. You take a third of it and makes this top ring right here.
Okay.
The 2/3 are left on the glue block.
Okay.
And then you make a dado in the part that's still on the glue block. Half
Okay.
inch wide or whatever, just a dado in here. And then on another glue block, you make this piece. And you can, I've got it glued together, but you could have solid wood if you wanted to. But it's going to float inside that dado. So you're going to turn this thing around to where he fits inside the dado that you just cut.
Right.
With a little slop in it. And then you glue it in here at 2 spots. You follow the grain, so you're going to glue a little spot here and glue a little spot down here.
So
and
it
that's
can
the
move
only
back and
glue
forth.
that's holding that little thing in here.
Gotcha.
Bring up your tailstock and make it flat to where it fits this ring. So it's the same width. This ring and this are all flat at that point.
Okay.
And then you flip this first little ring you cut off, that third, you flip it over so the flat portion is up against the portion that's still on the 2/3 is still on the glue block. And glue it on. Glue this ring on. Just being careful not to put too much glue on this piece.
Gotcha.
So you got it really sandwiched in there.
Oh, that's cool. It's beautiful, Bob. Got another question for you. Your
Sure.
Excel file, could you send that to Dave so he can put it on our website?
The what now?
The Excel file that you created.
Oh yeah, I did. It's I've sent it to him.
Okay, well that's my question because I
Yeah.
want to download it.
Sure.
Hey, Bob, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sue, the process on making that floating bowl was in today's newsletter also that Bob put in.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Excellent written article with the how-to photos. Even a dumb person like me could follow.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was nice right now, Bob. Thank you.
Yeah, I blow everything up so I can see it, but yeah, thank you very much for doing all that, Bob.
Sure.
Can we see that Christmas tree one behind your head?
Yeah, I did that. The inside out turning.
Yeah, can we see that one real quick? I know it.
I remember when he did that.
Christmas is less than a year
gorgeous.
away. We got to start prepping.
That's right. This one's on
That is
YouTube.
awesome.
It's on YouTube. I didn't do it. Somebody else has it on YouTube, but this is an inside out turning, and you can take it apart here, and you can see where I glued it together. Blocks of pine. I just using cheap pine here to do it with 2x4s, but you glue up the 4 blocks like a typical inside out turning, and you cut a Christmas tree.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you turn it back around, and that's what you see is the Christmas tree. And of course, it's got a hole here so that this light sits upside down in here, the little tea light, and you can turn it on. I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, there's some color.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That's clever.
That's
yeah.
cool. It looks so rustic the way you did it, Bob.
Yeah.
That's clever.
But it turned out real good. I like it.
perfect for Christmas.
Sure, sure. But these
Oh,
things,
yeah.
nice little Christmas gift, sure.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Might try that again. I hadn't thought about that. I was trying to figure out what I'm going to make for Christmas because I usually give all the neighbors something. So that would make a nice little gift too.
Oh yeah.
Pretty.
What was the wood in that first piece that you showed?
Which one here? The bowl, or are you talking about the platter?
The platter.
Okay, the platter is Baltic birch plywood.
Okay, it's
Yeah,
plywood.
okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
See, that's just the Baltic birch plywood. And it's really too thick. I mean, I didn't have to be that thick. I thought I was going to dish out more, but I didn't. When I made it, I thought, well, that's plenty. I don't need it to be a real deep bowl. It's more for just a platter than anything.
And we
But,
did
yeah.
a real nice job on that one.
It's beautiful.
The cloud effect, like I said, I've made several of these with different effects. The cloud effect, where you blow the little dots, like he was talking about, that turns out pretty too. But I really like this Saran wrap. It really kind of pushes everything together and make it a cosmic look.
Right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Pretty.
But there's a guy on YouTube, some guy in Germany that's doing this too, that had a YouTube video.
Yeah, I've seen his. And the gentleman that's in England, I saw his like 8 years ago. So yeah. I mean, the stuff they have for that is beautiful now.
Yeah, it is. It's really pretty. And the deal he was doing with the chain, that works out real good too, but you've got to have a lot of paint for those balls to drag through, and you put different colors, layers in here. So when you pull that chain, it makes different colors drag.
I think it needed, his was very good. Wayne's was very good, but I think maybe if he used a little bit on the background, a high gloss black,
Yeah.
and then thin his paint just a little bit so that the paint color would just pop.
Right.
He did all 5 of those in 1 hour.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to do a shiny black behind this. This has got a black lacquer, gloss lacquer on it first, and then you put the Josana paint on here.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, her paints are really pretty. The color, some of the colors aren't that pretty. The red and the greens, and I think there's one other that they're not as bright and pretty as some of these. But anyway, they play with making the irises. Those are easy to do and fun. Those are make real pretty platters, or here like this one.
Bob, did you leave any of that Josana's paint wet, or did you dry it between colors?
No, I actually left it all wet.
Okay.
Yeah. When you blow it out, you're kind of blowing it out and drying if you make the cloud look stuff. But this one that I did here, showing with that Saran wrap, that's all just wet. You just take a brush and kind of dab it on the colors around it, and you slap the Saran wrap on it, press it down a little bit. You don't have to move it a bunch, just kind of press it down a little bit and then pull it off, and it'll run it all
It's
together.
gorgeous. Well, that's pretty.
Yeah,
This,
that's some great string painting.
Yeah, this is that string art that he did.
Okay.
This is again those colors, but some of those colors are really pretty.
What are you using to finish that with to give it such glass?
That's lacquer on top of it, but it's a black lacquer gloss first, and then you put the string art on, and then you spray that again with a glossy lacquer.
On the bottom there, I saw that you had like aqua or blue on the sides. That is gorgeous. Yes, I see that.
Right.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's the same color as this one here.
Mm-hmm.
But her paints change, kind of change color depending on
the
how you
thinner
get-
the paint, the more the color. The thicker the
Right.
paint, the whiter it is.
Want to
Yeah.
thin it out, but,
Now you just use the flow, or are you using Liquitex, or what are you using to thin out?
that Floetrol, FOL.
Floetrol. That's what I
I've
use.
got that. I've got that. I got it by the gallon. Okay.
Yeah, you can get it at Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those places.
Yeah. It's a lot cheaper than buying Liquitex,
Now,
that's for sure.
acrylic.
Yeah, it's cheaper than Amazon.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we need a Wednesday where we just do gallery in his studio right there, and we'll just sit here and pick things off the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, between him and Joaquin, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is some awesome stuff.
I've seen it. I usually like to try it. So I've got a lot of different things.
Right.
Which is kind of nice.
Everybody else does too.
But that one's gorgeous too. If you ever hate it, you can send it my way.
Okay. All right, thanks. But that Josana paint, I did a lot of things with that. Here's
I
some
got
that-
some of their other colors, Bob, and I'm going to try them. They're not iridescent, but I got the pearlescent and some of that to dry brush with, and
Yeah.
I think that's going to be pretty as well.
It could be. This is that same paint, and I've textured this base.
Mm-hmm.
Hollowed it out and textured it, and then I came back and put the paint on it. And again, that was just painting it on here. I didn't rub it, I didn't smear it, I didn't do anything other than just paint it on, and some of the colors overlap, but that paint.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
I like the way you left that natural going around.
Like it.
That
Yeah,
is
that-
beautiful.
And
you did a fantastic job on the ribbon spinel.
Yeah,
Spinel.
yeah, that was one I made. This was all years ago, so.
Yeah, it's held up.
I don't date anything anymore because people they look at it. If you made it let's say you made it in December last year and you were going to give it away for Christmas, and all of a sudden, I got one extra, and they get it the next year. Well, they look at it and they say, "Oh man, that was in 24, not in 25."
I know it.
So I don't date anything. So
Yeah. Yeah, I used to date, but I don't anymore
yeah.
Good thing.
for that exact same reason.
But I do always admire your work, Bob. You do a great job.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks.
he
I
does.
appreciate that.
We'll pull a couple things off the shelf next week, Bob.
Okay.
All right. We got it. We got about 2 or 3 more gallery folks. Let's go ahead and get to them now. So let's see what JJ's got.
I don't date anymore because I'm married.
that was good. Ooh.
There's Nern.
Hey, you got some monkey puzzle.
No, this is Norfolk Pine.
Yep.
Black
You did one and the same?
by Mark Soleil.
Okay.
The lid is walnut.
Oh,
And just
boy.
something I like to do. I know nobody's ever going to see it, but one little thing I like to do for urns is just give it some little character piece in the middle, in the inside.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever see it.
Yeah, I do the same
Now-
thing.
Are you using PVC or brass?
These are actually the bronze, the 3.5-inch bronze rings from Niles Bottle Stoppers.
Okay.
Carl Jacobson.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good.
Cool.
But this Norfolk Pine actually surprised me how well it turned. But you have to keep your tools very, very sharp.
I do have a bunch of it, but it's
JJ, how
very.
big is that? I'm sorry.
I have a bunch of that.
Oh, do you?
But I've never turned it. It's still got all the bark on it.
Yeah, this had the bark. Mark Soleil gave me the blank. It had the bark on it. All his blanks have the end sealed and everything. And I didn't know whether or not it was dry because it was a big chunk of wood. It was dry. It was very dry. But it turned again, keep your tools sharp. You've got to have sharp tools. But it turned really well.
How tall was that?
The body of the urn is 11 inches, so 12 with the lid.
Okay.
So I was putting my I've got the medium Bosch hollowing tools, and so you're only supposed to work those to 8 inches deep. So I was definitely pushing the limit. But my box rest to move the fulcrum in, so I really never really got too far over.
Gotcha. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Just like Joaquin's last week was beautiful in the Norfolk Pine.
Yeah, he sent that vase is in the newsletter.
Yep, I saw that. Newsletter was great again, Joaquin.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Okay. What are the red dots?
guys' work.
What are the red dots around the shoulder?
So Norfolk Pine, all the branches come out in a ring. Those are branches.
Cool.
And that monkey puzzle is closely related to Norfolk Pine, and it does the same thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's the ring where the branches are.
And that's the draw. That's the draw to it, Sue, is to be able to get those red eyes, around the crown or the main feature of the vessel that you turn.
And this is going to a Marine Corps veteran. So it's kind of appropriate because the pine is very yellow, and then you've got the deep red of the eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not quite Marine Corps colors, but it's pretty close.
It's close.
Beautiful piece.
Yeah. Well,
it is really nice.
Considering they get paid by the Department of Navy, they'll accept it.
Yep.
Right on. Thanks, JJ.
Yep.
All right, let's go to Mr. Hatch. Bring in the
Hey,
Army.
Tim.
Good evening. So I finished up that small urn that I was working on last week.
Ooh, look at that.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
There's an inlay in there.
Yeah, very pretty.
Or strain match, so that worked out pretty nice. This is all eucalyptus branch that Dane sent me a long time ago. And then when I went to Arizona last time, we swapped some wood, and this is part of that eucalyptus that he traded me for. So really nice.
Came out well.
It turned out really nice. The only issue I had with it, well, I had a couple. First issue I had was the resin. When I first cast the resin, temperature here was cold. The resin was old, and it didn't set right. So I had to turn all that off. And when I recast it, that casting came out fine. But some of these smaller areas, like right up in here, the smaller cracks and this type of stuff, that it absorbed the original resin casting, that stuff wasn't set and solid. So as it's turning, I'm getting wet resin goo. And once I hollowed it out, I was still, even after I had sanded it and put the sanding sealer on it and everything, it ended up weeping a little bit. So it took extra sanding, extra drying time, 3408 on the resin to get it to harden up and cure, and then finally put the finish on it. But the finish is Watco lacquer finish. Not a fan of Watco. I like my def. I just didn't happen to have any. So I definitely need to go purchase some more def to have in the shop. But that's what I got. I appreciate
All
it.
right.
Looks great.
Great, Tim.
Thank
Did
you.
a good job on that. Yeah, all right, let's go see Sandy, and hopefully she's got her audio fixed.
Hey, Sandy.
Hi, everybody. I don't, if I start to echo again, let me know and I'll show this
You're
next
good.
time.
You're golden. You're golden.
Okay, 'cause I'm going to move down to George's office where I have a desktop. Anyway, what I have is about 3 or 4 years ago, I bit the bullet and bought some, this is actually ebony. So I bought this board because I wanted to make a segmented band and then put something on the top. And I made that. And then I was digging on my shelves and I found this nice spalted maple. So then I thought, I knew I had some leftover small pieces. And so I dug around till I found them in the drawer. And so this is actually a segmented top. with the black ebony. But
it's gorgeous.
that's the end of that. So it's, I don't know, it's about a little under 8 inches, I think, wide, and about, I don't know, probably 4 inches tall, something like that.
Really pretty.
That is pretty, Sandy.
The wood was so pretty. Yeah. And then, like I said,
Absolutely incredible.
yeah.
Love the
And I like this ebony as a segmenting, because you don't see any lines. You know, typically on the difference in the wood makes you see where you've segmented together the pieces, but you
That
really
means
can't.
you cut it really good.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the same with the band. The other bowl I did was a little bit bigger, and I put a segmented ring and a little small piece on the bottom, and then a small ring on the top out of the ebony. But you really can't see it if you, I guess because the color is so consistent. I don't know. I got lucky on this piece. I bought this in Dane. I bought this in Arizona, this ebony at Woodworkers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at Woodworkers stores.
Oh, okay. Or
yeah,
off of
that's-
chat.
Yeah, that's where it came from. It was, like I said, it was about 3 or 4 years ago. At that time, it was expensive, but nothing like now.
Yeah, not like it is today.
No. So I was lucky I got to use my little bit of scraps.
Right? Yeah, that's it. Wow,
Take
it's
a
a great
picture and
use.
send it in. I promise. I have the one from
There
last
you go.
episode too.
That's a
So
beautiful piece.
Right.
What's your
So,
finish?
poly. It's just my go-to.
Yeah.
I just work on the poly. It just works for me. I've
Is it
been
spray
doing it
on poly or wipe on poly?
It's regular poly, but I wipe it on. I don't spray it.
Okay, right on.
Yeah. So, but it's just what I
I hear you.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth to a bunch of different things, and I'm always going back to the poly.
Yeah.
That's all I got, and I could talk.
All righty. Yes. Yes.
Echo.
For sure.
Great seeing you,
All right.
Sandy.
Yeah, you too, Sue. I love your idea with the tape. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just pulling my hair out, literally because of that. So yeah,
it's so thin.
Yep.
Take it easy with the hair there, Stu.
Yeah, I hear you.
You'll wind up like me.
Yeah, I hear you.
And me.
Oh, and him too. But I'm not going to grow a beard. Now, my twin sister, she is growing a beard, but not me.
That's just not nice.
Yeah. I know, but it's
I don't-
true.
I don't think she would appreciate that.
I don't either.
Oh, she does all the time because I bug her about having 5 o'clock shadow. She shaves every day. Poor kid. She shaves her chin and her neck every day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And when did she start doing that?
I think after her hysterectomy,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
which was, gosh, let's see,
It just made it worse.
2011.
Oh my
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. So
All right,
yeah.
Well, real quick. So with that, we're at the top of the hour. So I appreciate everybody that showed up and came out tonight. We had a fantastic demonstration. Captain Eddie will
We did.
be back again next week. We had some fantastic gallery this evening. Bookend between a couple fantastic pieces and a bunch of marvelous pieces in between. And we really appreciate everybody that drops their name in and says, "Hey, I got something I want to show. This is what I did."
That's
And
cool.
so with that, we'll call us a demarcation point.